Go. Hey, welcome back for another episode of Ordinary Guys Bourbon. Today on the program, very special guest, Pat Cannon.
Hey.
So, Pat, tell us a little about yourself.
Pat Cannon. I've known David for a few years now, but mostly because his sister married my best friend, and we tend to bump into each other at different family events.
And at Fish Fries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. I am the godfather of his niece. So,
The girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I've snuck my way into the family.
We're glad that you've done such. I think the first time that I met you was at Joe's bachelor party, and there was a golf event because you guys are all big golfers. You and Smitty. There's a Smitty and a Varnish or something else.
Yeah. So I'll be honest. I picked up the game of golf later than all the other guys.
Yeah.
Joe and Smitty were like the first big golfers.
That Smitty guy,
He's quite good.
he's fucking good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
And then our buddy Brian Varnes, another golfer. He picked it up before me, but a little later than Joe and Sean as well. And
Who's Sean?
Sean Smitty.
Smitty.
Sorry
Okay.
about that.
Okay. I gotcha.
But yeah, we actually most of the bachelor parties we've had over the years have been kind of just golf weekends.
That's cool.
And it's an easy way to have a fun afternoon followed by a crazy night.
And I think when I met you, I had arrived a little bit late to the bachelor party, and you guys were already golfing. And I called Joe, said, "Hey, listen, what hole are you on? I'll grab a cart. I'll meet you out there, hole 13, whatever it was."
It's towards the end of the round.
Well, I think as I pulled up, and I think there was a golf cart in the drink, right? And I think there was a couple guys that were maybe waist deep trying to extract the golf cart.
Yeah,
from
that was an event. We it was a bachelor party, so there was about 20 guys there, and you don't golf 20 guys at a time.
No.
At least you don't typically. And so we had foursomes, and me and Smitty and Varnes were in like a threesome. We were like one of the last groups probably. And I was driving solo in my cart, and Smitty was, I believe, driving a car with him and Varnes, and took his eyes off the road.
Maybe it was a distraction. Maybe it was on the phone.
Veered off the path. There was a little bridge you're supposed to go over. I think he missed the bridge and just went straight into the pond.
It did look like it was a complicated approach. So I could see that probably happens quite often.
I was in front of him, so like it, and we had. I don't think we're the last group actually because there was guys behind us.
Okay.
So, by the time I even realized what's happening, you hear some noise, you stop, you take a
Probably
look.
a little bit, yeah.
But we also got guys on the tee box behind us, and I think they hit their carts and came up, and I think we had about eight or nine guys kind of around to just extract the cart. I saw that they seemed like they had it under control.
You were supervising.
I stayed dry.
You supervised.
But we definitely had some guys fully in the pond.
Yeah.
We got it out, and then somehow I managed to get blamed for the whole ordeal at the end of the day. But
Well, you take some from the team, and that's okay. So I understand you're big into gaming.
I'm a big proponent of physical media and retro games. I've been playing video games since I was a wee lad. Got a NES when I was a child.
Great system.
And there was maybe a couple years in there where I fell away from it, found it back again, pulled all my stuff out of my parents' basement, put it all together, and I got just about every system you could imagine.
Do you have to blow on the cartridges and tap on your knee? Is that the science between an NES cartridge like Super Mario 3?
They say you're not supposed to do that.
Really?
But I still do it.
I think it worked.
It does.
Usually it works.
That's the thing, is it does work. and so you can damage the cartridges with your breath.
Really?
It'll
Because
rust.
of humidity
It'll
or the-
rust. Yeah, it'll end up
Okay.
rusting it. But let's be honest, it does work.
Yeah, it does.
And I honestly I find the best way to get a cartridge working in the old NES is a little bit of sandpaper.
Really?
Yeah, you just give the teeth on the chip because it's a chip.
That's
it's
all
a
it is,
card. Yeah, just a little scraping just to get a little bit of the tarnish off.
Okay.
Don't go crazy with
Yeah.
it.
You ever use 80 grit sandpaper?
No. Just a light touch, just to clean it up. And honestly, you shouldn't have to do it every time. Like it's like once you buy something, clean it up, get it running, put it on your shelf. You can pull it off and play it whenever you want.
In the tail end of NES's, probably after they had released Super Nintendo, they came up with a new design for the console.
Mm-hmm.
So the original design, you had to put the cartridge in and then put it down and it clicked in.
Yeah, it was like
They
an
had-
old
they had a top
VCR.
loader. Yeah, exactly. They had a top loader version,
Yep.
which looked stupid.
So the top loader, I don't have a top loader. I've seen it.
You got the OG.
I have the OG.
Yep.
It's actually my old system
Okay.
from when I was a little child. But top loader's cool. It's I think the sound quality out of it is a little worse. Like there's like they make component changes and stuff, but it is considered much more reliable. It works almost every time. You know, it doesn't load in this weird, stupid way, and they're harder to find. There's
Yeah.
less of them, and people like them. I'm fine with having mine. You know, I like mine. So I like I love retro consoles and stuff, and there's something to be said about the more modern takes that people have. Like you can get fake retro stuff that'll play your stuff.
That's right.
But I like having the old hardware.
And I've got an old ColecoVision that still works, and I've got the turbo controller with the stick shift and the gas pedal. I've got the roller controller for Centipede, and that's all great.
Yeah.
I might start another channel. I know this is about this channel here, Ordinary Guys Bourbon, is on the cusp of going viral. I think I've got like 33, maybe 34 subscribers at this point.
All right.
So 967 away from being monetized. We're on the cusp, right? But we're on the road. Normally we're based out of Illinois, right? We're in Michigan right now, having this program, and like I had a PS3 I had bought because I figured let me go ahead and get a new system.
Yeah.
And I think I have two games. I've got an NHL game, and I've got like a Batman Arkham Escape or whatever.
Arkham Asylum. It's a great game.
And
Absolutely.
the problem I have is the controls are fantastic. Like ColecoVision controllers, like you have to like hope that they work, right? But it's got the controller that's all wireless and it vibrates and all that stuff. But there's so many damn buttons,
Okay.
And like with the NHL game, like there's a mode to play like NHL '94, so you can do that one slap shot, the one touch thing. But it's just too complicated for me. Like I don't have the dexterity, or do you play those games though with when you're engaging all your fingers?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
Those controllers nowadays, like you need like there's an A and B button up here. There's the joystick here, maybe a D-pad. There's an A, B, C over here on the or X triangle, circle, square, whatever. It seems like it's a lot of work.
Well, okay, so a small little tour of it. I'll give you. There's the beauty of the old stuff. It's hardware. It's kind of just electronics, and so it works basically forever. The design is simple. You have an A and a B, and they managed to push that really far. And each generation, controllers get a little bit more and a little bit more complicated.
Genesis had a C button too, I think, didn't it? ABC.
Genesis had it, yeah, and they also had the six button eventually, which added X, Y, and Z.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
But I will say, the game consoles have essentially calmed it back down, and for the last couple generations, you have a pretty consistent layout. It's too many buttons for you apparently, but it's 4 face buttons, 2 and 4 shoulder buttons. You have 2 sticks.
Shoulder button, they call the ones up here.
Yeah, and honestly, I think in general, it's something you can get used to. You can pick it up, and you can play it, and it's. But I'm a little older. I don't really play that much online competitive stuff because there's a lot of kids out there who spend their entire lives doing that and they get real good at it. And I am not someone who can spend 19 hours a day playing Call of Duty online.
Well, there's like jobs that get in the way.
So I'm not really a Fortnite guy. I don't find myself trying to go out there and beat people on the internet. I'm more of like a let's find something with fun gameplay or a good story, and I take it at my own pace.
But you're younger than I am, right? How old are you? 39?
41.
41. So I'm in the bowl. So you're a good 5 years in game console, like the ribbon of time of game consoles.
Yeah.
5 years is a long time.
A generation of games now seems to be somewhere between 8 and 10 years. So we sort of grew up in the same era, but there's cusps to it, right? So I want to say the first system I probably ever played was maybe an Atari, but I was really more of an NES kid.
Yeah.
And it did move fast enough because back then you'd hit middle school or high school and you would stop playing games because you had other things on your mind.
Yeah. Women and booze.
Yeah.
That's really what it was.
So I honestly didn't play a ton of video games when I was in high school or in my college years. I picked it back up kind of afterwards.
Can we at least set the record straight? So you're an NES guy. Super Mario Bros. Fantastic game.
Sure.
And they came back out with it on the Wii. I know with Super Mario.
There's a lot of Super Mario Bros. Games.
But Super Mario Bros. 2 was terrible. Can we agree on that?
No, we can't.
Oh, come on. No, what do you?
It's different.
It's terrible.
It's its own thing.
You had Luigi that had like he made the noise when he jumped. Toad would rip the turnips out of the ground real quick.
See, that was the Wild West of video games back
terrible.
then. It was just that, like nowadays, everything's cookie cutter. They tried something different. And
they shouldn't have.
Well, yeah, I will say it was weird and hard when I was younger. I didn't necessarily get it. As an adult, I've gone back and I've revisited a lot of this stuff.
And you like it?
It's fun.
So which character do you choose? You choose Mario, Luigi, Toad, or Princess?
So Luigi, I think, is the one to go with. So each character is different. Mario is the kind of all-around medium guy.
Yep.
Toad's the fastest. Peach can float. And Luigi's got the big jump. And I think the big jump's kind of where you want.
Good point. So let's get into the bourbon here. This is Buffalo Trace. This is one of my favorite bourbons. This is like a classic, like everyday go-to bourbon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. This is definitely an Ordinary Guys kind of bourbon.
So let's go through some of my research here. Buffalo Trace. This namesake, the Buffalo Trace bottle, wasn't released until August 1999. So 26 years.
I'm actually a little surprised that it wasn't from the new millennia.
Yeah, well, close enough. Right?
Yeah,
1999, right?
Just like the thong song.
A little Cisco right there. Buffalo Trace. It's the most award-winning distillery in the world, they say.
Okay.
Oldest continuously operated distillery in America. Right. So during Prohibition, they got by selling some bourbon for medicinal purposes.
That's interesting because. I lived in Philadelphia for a few years, and Yangling is America's oldest beer brewery because they stayed open during Prohibition because they were making ice cream.
There you go.
So I'm actually surprised Buffalo Trace was able to.
There's a couple of them that say that and
keep the record.
Have done it. Like Woodford Reserve was open during Prohibition as well. But Buffalo Trace, the distillery itself, goes back to OFC distillery, back to the late 1700s. This distillery, through acquisitions and mergers, they also produce E.H. Taylor, Colonel Taylor.
Okay.
George Stagg, Albert B. Blanton. Blanton's comes from this. Pappy comes from the same distillery, right? Elmer T. Lee, which I haven't found a bottle of Elmer T. Lee in like 10 years.
Okay.
Right? I was in California actually last week. And I went to a liquor store. They had 2 bottles sitting right there for $299. I didn't know how to ship them, but same distillery.
Carry on.
So when they came up with the name for Buffalo Trace, it refers to the ancient Buffalo Traceway crossing the Kentucky River in Franklin County.
Okay.
It's now owned by Sazerac Company. It was purchased, Buffalo Trace Distillery was purchased in 1992 by Sazerac Company. They're headquartered in New Orleans. It's an American company, so. It's owned by billionaire William Goldring. I didn't know this guy.
I wonder what else he owns.
Well, the Sazerac Company owns Bowman, Blanton 1792, Canadian Mist, Glenmore. So they have quite a decent portfolio.
Is Glenmore a Scotch?
I assume it is.
Yeah.
Sounds like Scotch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must. I'm wondering if they have some Scotch distilleries going.
They probably do. But we don't do Scotch on this program. This
No,
is
I understand that.
Ordinary Guys
Hey,
Bourbon.
well,
So that's my research. So they've got some lineage. The product itself, not exactly super old, right?
Yep.
But certainly, it's Eagle Rare comes from the same distillery as
yeah,
well.
I'm familiar
right?
with Eagle Rare.
But like I look at Buffalo Trace, to me, and it's an everyday kind of drinker bourbon.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like for most of my life, or I guess not most of my life, because this has been around since '99. But it felt like bourbons were your Jack Daniels and your Jim Beams, and that was just what people thought. And then Buffalo Trace just kind of like stormed the castle, just really burst on the scene.
They really did.
And it doesn't have the stigma of a Jack Daniels, and so it feels more like a drink by the fire kind of bourbon, but it's also not the type of bourbon that'll just destroy your wallet.
No. I think a bottle of Buffalo Trace is about $28, $27. Depends on the state.
Which is a good place to be in my opinion.
That's right. And just so we don't get inundated by, I mean, we're just starting off on this channel,
Sure.
right? But people that drink bourbon there's a lot of purists.
Oh sure.
So Jack Daniels, let's be clear, that's not a bourbon. That's an American whiskey,
It's a mash whiskey.
right?
Sure.
So I don't want the comments to go crazy,
All right.
right? Jim Beam is a bourbon, right? The most successful bourbon company, I think, the label at least, most successful label in the world. But Buffalo Trace, again, we've got two samples in front of us. One's a neat, kind of looks like both of yours are neat.
Well, mine had cubes in it, but they melted.
But so we get to our scoring here, and we'll just go ahead and start grabbing into this. We talk about heritage, maximum score is 20. Taste and drinkability, maximum score is 40.
Yeah.
Affordability, maximum score 30.
Okay.
And then overall design of the bottle, the label, right, maximum score of 10. So let's get at the scoring.
All right. Should I go through completely, or are we gonna discuss as we go?
We go through if you play ahead, that's good. It's a new channel. We're trying different things.
All right.
Right? And I invite anybody watching the show, if you've got some comments about what you think works or what doesn't work, go ahead and pop those in the comments below. As we wrap up season 1, this will probably be episode 13 or 14 of season 1.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have 16 episodes in season 1.
All right.
That seems a good number.
I like it.
When we get to season 2, we've got some choices ahead of us. The studio we've got back in Illinois, we've got 2 seats, and we kind of handle it with that kind of setup. Right here in Michigan, we've been having it at a table, right, which is kind of nice. We've got something to kind of rest our drinks on. We might try standing for one of the future episodes. But what would be the comments of what you guys think we should be doing differently with this program, and how we grow this program together with our vast number of subscribers that we have, and how we make it.
Well, I gotta tell you, I feel like bourbon is the type of thing that is for all settings. Standing by, standing at the bar, sitting on the table, sitting by the fire. It's good.
I do like some sitting by the fire.
There you go.
But Michigan's too cold right now.
All right, let's see. 40, maximum 40 here. You're gonna make me do math at the end here. Too.
I know, right? if it makes you feel better, back in episode 5, a good friend of mine, Ken Pluff, was on the program, and Ken Pluff is a guy that ordinary guy, not really though, extraordinary life, right? But math is not one of the things he. And Julie, my sister, was on the program, and she struggled with math a little bit herself, right? I think she pulled, and we've had guests pull out a calculator to add things up.
Yeah.
Right? And that's fine. So, as you continue to score, Heritage, maximum score of 20. What do you got here?
I got a 5.
Low.
Yeah, very low. I'll be perfectly honest. So I am a little bit more of an Irish whiskey guy.
Okay.
I'm from a family that does take this stuff very seriously. My dad and mom have gone on multiple trips to bourbon countries, do the bourbon trail, and they come back with a dozen bottles, you know. And we've been to Scotland and Ireland, and we've toured some distilleries. And you know, when you're looking at Irish whiskeys that have 200, 300 years of history, and you're looking at some American distilleries that have some long histories. It's just it doesn't compare to whatever's in Europe, just because America's just not as old. Now Buffalo Trace has some history to it in the distillery, but the brand doesn't. And so I look at a brand that's 25 years old, and I just that's not very much in my mind.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And since you said that, I'm rethinking my score. There's no erasers on the pens we use.
Well, I wouldn't want one.
Well, so I scored a 16.
Yeah.
Because the distillery going back as long as it has. But you're absolutely right. I mean, the actual this offering does not have a tremendous amount of experience or history and legacy to it.
I appreciate that it comes from a place with the experience.
Yeah.
This itself doesn't.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Taste and drinkability, maximum 40.
I put it at 35.
Yeah, it's a high score.
It's a high score. It's not my favorite whiskey out there, but it is very easy to drink.
Mm-hmm.
It's smooth and very enjoyable. I don't think it necessarily blows your socks off.
Yeah.
But drinkability is it. You could finish a bottle on accident.
Pretty easily.
Yeah.
That may have happened in the last 2 days. I've got a 36, so we're almost neck and neck there. So very, very similar. Affordability, like I said, this is a $27, $28 bottle, I think. Maximum was 30. Yeah, what do you have for this?
I got a 25. I look at a 30 is, to me, super cheap, bourbon whiskey, which this isn't. But this is in, I think, that the right price range, the sweet spot of where whiskeys should be. You want a whiskey that, you either want a whiskey that's super expensive, or do you want a whiskey that is just expensive enough to not be trash whiskey?
Yeah.
And so
it's not a mellow corn.
So I think that anywhere from 25 to 35 bucks is really that sweet spot.
I think you're right.
But I didn't want to put it as like a 30 out of 30 because it's not more. It's there are cheaper things out there, and if you just want something cheap, you can get something cheap. Well, I think it's right in that sweet spot.
Have you ever had like Costco has a bourbon?
Yeah,
I think they have a couple now. Maker's Mark also has I think you do like a Maker's Mark, like a 1 liter of
yeah. I like Maker's Mark. Maker's Mark.
Oh, sorry, Maker's not Maker's Mark.
Is it like a
members Mark?
Okay.
What's the Sam's Club version?
Okay.
Right. They've got. Maybe we'll review it on a future episode. I think Maker's Mark. Members Mark.
Yeah.
Sam's Club. They've got like an $18 offering, and I'm sure it's distilled by some player, but $18. Right. I had a 26 for affordability. So again, we're almost.
Yeah, we're in the mix there.
What about design?
So I put a 7. I think the bottle itself is nice. I love a giant beast like a buffalo on the front.
Yeah.
It's not really doing anything crazy So I didn't go completely through 10, but it's a nice bottle.
Yeah. So overall, I got a 6 for design. Same comments. Overall, what's your score?
I landed on a 72.
72?
I mean, obviously, I think my heritage take knocked it down to where it could have been, but I think that's a pretty good score for a bourbon.
I got an 84, but still, this is a higher score based on what we've done in our very young history so far. But I think certainly good, and a decent offering.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Buffalo Trace. I think its cousin Eagle Reserve is nice as well, and it's really just.
Eagle, where do you find a bottle of Eagle Rare now? They're hard to find.
I don't really search out whiskeys and bourbons that much.
Yeah.
What I do is I go to a liquor store and I peruse an aisle, and when I see something, I buy something. I don't really think too much about it. But there is a Total Wine right around the corner.
Right around the corner. I've been there.
And, they're usually pretty good. Actually, so my dad is a bourbon guy and a whiskey guy, and he has Pappy and stuff like that. And there is a liquor store just around the corner down Newburgh that he's had a lot of success
Newburgh
with.
and 5 Mile?
No, Newburgh and 8. 7. Newburgh and 7.
Right by that burger place. That's like an independent fast food place. Big Burger.
It's over by, I want to say, the Speedway, just past it.
Okay.
And it's a smaller thing.
Yeah.
It's just a normal store, but they've had some success there. So yeah.
There's a guy I watched. His name is Bruzel, I think is the name of the program, and all he does is bourbon hunting. Like all over the United States. He'll be in Washington one day, then the next day he'll be in California. The next day he's in Maine. Just hunting bottles of bourbon, and that's fine.
The best way to find what you need, and this is tough for some people, is actually try to make friends with the proprietor.
Yeah.
Because they have the ability to order stuff, and they just don't always do it because they don't know they have a market for it.
There's a place at 5 Mile and Beck in Plymouth called the Cigar and Liquor Emporium, and the proprietor there is a guy named Tom. And Tom and I go back 25 years of, and he'll just like that. Like I haven't been around here in the area in Michigan for 3 years now, but I'll go into that shop and he'll be like, "Here, I saved this bottle for you. Are you interested in this bottle?" Right? And he keeps things behind the counter that he won't sell, the allocated bourbons, and it makes it a little bit of fun.
Well, knowing a guy is the best way to get
And he's a great guy
in general.
He's a great guy. Yeah.
If you know a guy, they can make phone calls. You got to have like a distributor license to sometimes order some of this stuff.
Yeah. Pat, it was great having you on the program.
This was fun.
I think you've got some good scores there. And until next time, from Ordinary Guys Bourbon, have a good one. Cheers.
Cheers.